It's the 6th of April, 2022. I wanted to go over 2600 Garden Road, and I was going back through the news stories that I found. I'm gonna have to read some of this because there's some notes that I want to make a little comparison to another project that was built, and there's people living in it now at 787 Munras in Monterey. That's a Middlebury Institute facility for up to 89 students to live in that building that was once a commercial office space. I think Pac Bell had owned it and AT&T, and then it was split up, and there was a number of businesses that operated out of there for years. That building was originally built in 1971. But let me go back to 2600 Garden Road. The first story I find is in the Weekly. Council shoots to rezone so that they can have up to 405 units in the Garden Road area. That was June 6th of 2019. In December 3rd of 2019, the council eliminates certain requirements and they're going to build multifamily homes. That would include 2600 Garden Road and a number of other properties along Garden Road. The idea is to get people to live closer to where they work and then maybe not have to commute on 68, since they're never going to develop and build a proper freeway across the former Fort Ord. Then the property developer, a guy by the name of Slama, in the news story, they were going to break ground in June of 2020. Then there's another story in May 12th of 2020. And I did a video on this in October 21st of 2021. And I was asking the question of what the hell happened, because they were breaking ground. According to the news story, they were going to do that in June of 2020. And then a year later, I'm looking at it going, well, nothing's going on. It was basically shut down. And then I found out that the state water board decided they weren't going to give them the water credits. They're mandating that municipalities build affordable housing, but then they don't want to give them the water, or there is no water available because they're not investing in infrastructure and doing the things that they need to increase the amount of water that we have in the state of California. They're dependent on rain and snowpack, but we're not desaling, and we don't have the energy to do that with everyone moving towards electric cars. So anyways, here it is, March 17th of 2022, last month. The city of Monterey sends a letter asking the state to lift the cease and desist order. I mean, this thing's essentially been shut down for 2 years, and now you're asking the state to lift the cease and desist order? Or did I miss another story where they'd asked for that previously? Because this is what I'm finding now. So let me compare that to MIIS at the 787 Munras Avenue, which is all in kind of like the same time frame when you look at it. I read one story where when they were doing demolition, they'd gotten some asbestos that had washed out into the harbor because they hadn't contained an area where they were doing demolition, and rain came down. It probably wasn't that much, and you know, I don't eat fish out of Monterey Bay, so I'm not too concerned with it. So in May 1st of 2020, I read a story that MIIS had acquired the building. December 22 of 2020, there's a story, it's going to be 89 students, and then that's when they broke ground, I do believe, when they started the remodel, or somewhere in that time frame, out of the story that I read. And then they had a grand opening November 18th of 2021. So in less than a year, by the stories that I read, they got that place up and running, room for 89 students, and they somehow managed to take a commercial building and probably had minimal water credits for it because, like I said, it was AT&T Pac Bell building originally when it was built. And now they have close to 90 people living there. There's parking somewhat. Probably more so people parking on the street or have permits, or now they can actually walk because it's so close to MIIS. But I noticed some of the comments by the city manager Hans Uslar is saying that they have a strong partnership, and they do have a strong partnership. I used to live on Van Buren when I was a kid, and Van Buren has been taken over by MIIS. The old Monterey Library is on Van Buren, taken over by MIIS a long time ago. The building across the street, I think there was Pacific Telephone, was there as well at one time when that was in the 60s. They've taken over Pierce. They've taken over what was the Herald in Monterey, which is at Jefferson and Pacific. You go down Pacific and they've got buildings there. You go across the street, coming down Franklin, they've got buildings there. Does it make sense to take an institute or a school, place of higher learning, and take over all the residential neighborhoods and a good number of business locations? A lot of commercial properties have been eaten up by them. A number of apartment complexes have been eaten up by them. And we don't have places for people to rent, and they're converting them all into MIIS locations. It's just amazing to me. You think if you had a school that had grown that much, they'd have some growing pains and then maybe establish something or go build their own building, say out in Ryan Ranch or something. Take the old McGraw-Hill building, for instance. I don't think it's full anymore. I don't think there's hardly anybody there, but yeah, I'm just, the way Monterey has developed and what they're doing, you can't drive through Pierce now. They've blocked it off, but they've established their foothold, and Monterey likes to hire people from MIIS. So somebody explain to me why the people that are trying to develop Garden Road can't get their water and they can't get their buildings built, but Middlebury can get one built in less than a year. Peace out.